Okay, guys, today we're going to talk about conditionals. Conditionals are made up of two parts. You have your protasis and you have your apodosis. Your protasis is the part of the conditional that contains the word if. So, for example, if we write the sentence, if we go out, we will see our friends. So the protasis is this bit here. The apodosis is the main clause, so it's the result of the conditional in a sense. So this is your apodosis. Now, as you can see, in English and most of the time in Latin, your protasis occurs before your apodosis. So you get given the if clause and then you get given the result of that. That doesn't always happen. It's the most common setup of this sort of sentence. But it doesn't follow those rules that strictly, because you could say in English, we will see our friends if we go out, for example. Okay, so we're going to start with something called open or unknown conditional. So this is the first type of conditional. Now, the clues in the title, because these conditionals are things that we don't know the result of, so we don't know whether they've been fulfilled. So if you look back at that example sentence, if we go out, we will see our friends. In that sentence, we don't know if we're going to go out or not. We haven't decided yet. So we don't know whether that condition has been fulfilled or not. Now, in the future tense, all conditionals are unknown. They're all open because they haven't happened yet. So you don't know whether those things have been fulfilled. So that example sentence there is future. So we don't know whether that's going to happen. You can also have unknown conditionals in the past tense, because you could just it could just be the case that the speaker or the writer doesn't know whether something has happened. So, for example, we could say if you said this, you were wrong. And that whole sentence is in the past, but it's not clear whether the speaker knows if that person said something or not. So it's still an unknown conditional. Okay, so in Latin, unknown conditionals are in the indicative. So they are very straightforward. So that's your kind of key little bit of information to write into your notes. And we'll write a couple of examples in Latin. So an example of a present one, si hoc dicis eras, if you say this, you are making a mistake. Again, you can see there, we don't know whether that person's going to say something or not, so it's unknown. A past tense one could be si hoc dixisti eravisti. So, very similar to my English example above. If you said this, you made a mistake. So these ones are pretty straightforward because they're tense by sense. You just translate them as they are. There's nothing weird going on with the tenses. So they're quite straightforward. The only way in which they're a little bit complicated is in the future, but this is nothing new to us because quite often Latin has a hidden future. In English, you wouldn't say, if you will do something, this will happen. The first part of that sentence, you would keep in the present. If you do something, this will happen. But in Latin, it will be in the future. So we'll write down an example that looks like that. So again, same idea, same sort of structure, but this time in the future. Si hoc dices erabis. So you can see both those verbs are in the future tense, but we're not going to put that first one into the future because it would sound weird. So instead we're going to say, if you say this, you will be making a mistake. Or you will make a mistake, will be fine. Okay. Just to add a little bit more complication to that. So this bit here is future, but if it has to be that the conditional part of the sentence, the protasis, happens before the result, if that has to be the case, then instead of this being the future tense, it has to be future perfect, just to show that it's happened before the result, before the apodosis. So for example, see hoc feceris punieris. Literally, if you will have done this, but we wouldn't say that in English. So if you do this, you will be punished. Okay. Okay, final little thing just to add into these open or unknown conditionals. As I say, the nicest thing about them is it's all indicative. The verbs are all straightforward. Just note the use of this word quis. We know it as an interrogative, but it can be used as an indefinite pronoun just to mean anyone after the word see. So if anyone does this, and then he, probably makes most sense here, he deserves to be punished. Okay, so just watch out for that.